Hey, this is Ruben Cantu, and I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Inclusive Innovation and Entrepreneurship at UT Austin. And I want you to stay here on a heat tank with Hamid because we're going to talk about how I came from East Austin and now I'm working at the Ivory Tower, but we're really transforming mindsets and taking kids from diverse backgrounds and help them become executives of tomorrow. So stay tuned right here.
Another episode of the Heat Tank. We are live and we have Ruben Cantu today on this episode. Let me tell y'all who Ruben Cantu is. First, you can go to Google and look up Ruben Cantu Austin. This guy is connected with practically everything, almost every organization it seems like. But I brought him onto the show today because I want to know how he, as he says, came as an Eastside kid. And now he's moving in all kinds of entrepreneurial, business-related, social circles that are making things happen. And not just that, very recently, or not too long ago, really, he got brought on by the University of Texas as, let me get it correct, the Executive Director of the Innovation and Diversity and Inclusion Officer.
I can help you out.
Okay, you help me out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of title. It's a long title.
It's a long title. I didn't want to get it wrong. But yes, definitely one of the reasons I brought you on is because not just for your personal brand, but the business you're in, if I'm not mistaken, is especially with UT, is getting more diversity into the school.
Yeah.
And that's a hard job. You know, a lot of times, obviously, I'm from Austin, Texas, and people outside of Austin, they look at UT like, oh, it's just a bunch of white people. Now, doesn't mean it's necessarily true, but obviously the more color and diversity and inclusion of all kinds that you can bring in is awesome for any school. So you are playing a huge role in that. But before we get started with all that cool stuff, I want to introduce to y'all Ruben Cantu right here from Austin, Texas.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on the show. It's been an honor. I've loved coming and giving talks to the community because really the position that I hold allows me to straddle between not only on campus and serve students, but really making a difference in serving our community. And it's in that bridge that I thrive in and that I think our office is really going to thrive. I'm the executive director of the Office of Inclusive Innovation and Entrepreneurship. It sits inside the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement at the University of Texas here at Austin. And we've been there for about 18 years. And we have, not 18 years, 18 months, a little over 18 months, about a year and a half. And the thing that I've seen is that not only is the programs that we created being successful or becoming successful, but there's much more interest in the community saying, when are you going to come create this for us?
I see. Okay.
And so now I'm like, okay, well, now it's about getting the resources, the community online, the business community to support, to say, hey, we need to rethink the way we are teaching innovation and entrepreneurship. And that's really what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. No, and it shows because it seems like, I mean, people, whether they look you up on LinkedIn or just like I said earlier, just Google your name, you're connected with so many organizations and movements within the city of Austin, and obviously I think beyond, but it is something that's really cool. But what I want to start with is, how exactly did you get tied in with, first of all, not just UT, but getting tied in with social entrepreneurship and business circles? And because I know we talked, sometime prior, and you're a kid that Hispanic background, came from the East Side, and I believe maybe your surroundings wasn't where, you're going to be an executive director at UT, So how did you go from that to the whole UT thing and everything you're doing now?
You know, they've done studies on young people, and they've found out that from the age of 0 to 5, your brain is actually functioning at genius level.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the reason that the quote-unquote genius dies is that we put kids in school. And we force them on compliance. We tell them, memorize these things, stop being curious about the world, and here's your test, pass this test.
Memorize. And educational industrial complex.
And it's to figure out how to be able to fit for the bell curve, for the big medium. But not everyone fits in that. One of the things I found out about myself, and I'm thankful for my dad because I get it from him, is that I'm just insanely curious. Yeah. I'm that annoying kid, like, and why do we do that? And why do we do that? I'm like, golly, go to your room, right? But that's what allowed me to start, like, I was taking radio transistors, like little boom boxes, apart when I was like 4 years old, trying to figure out, like, obviously it wasn't plugged into the wall.
Yeah, how does it work?
Yeah, I was just like, how does the sound come out of this box? Wow. And so just putting it back together, I was like making my own antennas when I was 8. I had like different models of antennas from foil paper and hangers, coat hangers.
Brothers and sisters watching, or?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 3, and they knew that I was a nerd.
Okay.
But so was my dad. My dad could like fix anything. My dad could like, he didn't go to school for like repairing appliances, but he can fix anything. He'll fix a car. He'll fix an appliance. He's just like starts looking at him like, looks like this is not tinkering well. He just keeps tinkering with it. Like, hey, I fixed it. I'm like, how'd you do it? Like, well, I had some duct tape here, some rubber bands there, but we fixed it. And you're like, oh wow, anything's possible.
Well, was he like that entrepreneurial wise, or was it just kind of like the MacGyver of, I don't want to call it the MacGyver of the neighborhood, but the MacGyver of the house?
He's definitely the MacGyver of the house. Entrepreneurship comes with a lot of thinking. I don't know if he himself has the entrepreneurial spirit, but he does have the innovator spirit. Two different things, right?
True, yes.
So he can innovate, but entrepreneurship's going out there and selling it.
Exactly.
That's what I had to learn. So he's not necessarily confident in like public speaking and going and selling it. That's something I had to acquire on my own.
I see.
But once I was able to get encouraged when I started doing radio when I was 14, when I came here to these studios we're recording at when I was 18, I just started getting curious, like, how does that board work? Like, what does the buttons do? Like, I like that, right? Yeah. And just started putting pieces together. Next thing you know, like, a whole production company, exactly.
Wow.
So it's really curiosity. And I was like, if you don't kill the curiosity from your kid and just let them go and do things that they really care about, as long as they're not hurting themselves, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
That allows them to start dreaming bigger. The biggest challenge I have with my students currently today is that they don't believe me when I tell them they can do anything they put their mind to.
True.
Or if they do, they're like, yeah, but you don't know where I come from, so it's not real it might be real for you. It's like, do you know where I come from? Like, hold on. Like, I mean, we may not have identical backgrounds, but literally think about it. Like, I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, and we grew up like little under working class. Like, if most of my parents wouldn't have been working, I would have been like right under the poverty line.
Yes.
And so my mother has a high school education. My father did not finish school. I wasn't scheduled to be, a person to go to college. I'm the first one in my family to go to college.
Wow.
In East Austin, from the high school I graduated from, I'm the first one in my high school to go to the University of Texas.
What school was it, by the way?
It's Gonzalo Garza Independence High School.
Oh, okay.
Here in East Austin.
Yeah.
And so the reason I share that story is like, I realized one thing though. I may not have been like extra book smart in the sense of like memorizing everything. I was a pretty good student, but I was more curious than anything. There was kids that were actually better students than me and had better grades. Yes. They could like fall asleep in class, come back the next day, and like pass the test because they could figure it out. But they weren't brazen enough to just go out and like jump out and try new things. The thing with me is like, I may not be the smartest one, but I won't quit.
True.
I was curious. I was like, well, if I fail, I fail, whatever.
Persistence to figure it out, make it happen, whatever it takes type of thing. But okay, so back in high school, did you consider yourself a nerd? Or who were you hanging out with in high school? Who were the people that influenced you in high school? Because high school is a very critical time. And of course, you got elementary, middle school, but high school, that's where the extracurricular activities start coming, maybe the girls, the bad influences, and especially being on the east side. Around what year was this, by the way?
I was in high school from 97 to 2001.
Okay, so around that time, there was a lot of things, going on, obviously, you know what I'm saying? But how would you classify yourself in high school?
I was a chameleon. I could go and hang out with my Latino friends, and I was really heavily involved with my black friends. Okay. So when I was 8, we moved into a black neighborhood. 9, I was moved into a black neighborhood.
Okay.
And so I was like the only brown kid in a black neighborhood.
Wow.
And so to me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I learned how to code switch.
I see.
And I was just embraced, and I was just like, you're one of us.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I could go still hang out with my Latino friends, but hip hop had been a part of my life for so long. Think about it. If I'm listening to hip hop between like 6 and 8 years old, all the way for my whole life, this part of the culture is just embracing me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I was a DJ. So I always liked the show 90210.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Remember Brian Austin Green?
And
That was me. I was like, I wasn't want the radio show. And
That's
so
cool.
once I fell in love with radio and being able to have all these top celebrities and like rappers and all come through my show, that was my niche. That was my shtick.
Yeah.
And that built everything. I was like, oh, well, if I can do this, and I can start my own. I put my own concert on. My first concert flopped, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
But afterwards, they became successful. But I was okay with failing. Like the first time I was on the radio, I stuttered. I don't even know if that recording exists.
What do they call the choke artist?
The choke
artist.
Yeah. And pretty soon, though, I just practiced in front of the mirror all the time when I got home. I listened to other radio DJs. And next thing you know, I was at the level of a quality radio commercial DJ.
Wow. And this was early 2000s?
When I was 14, so I was like 97.
Okay, 97-ish.
Something, yeah, like that.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we've established that your background is, we'll say black and brown.
Yeah.
Because realistically, that's what it is, the way you came up. And there's something I heard years ago, the past, your present is influenced by your past, and your past influences your present, or something like that. So it's really interesting that you say that. So when you were at home with your brothers and sisters, did they pick on you? Did they kind of just say, or did they just look at you like, he's our brother, let him be him?
No, they embraced me. We're all supportive of each other. Okay. If anything, I needed to be more supportive of my brother and sister.
Really?
Because I think growing up with bullying, I didn't know. You know how that phrase goes, hurt people hurt people?
I see. Okay.
And when you don't become self-aware, if you've been bullied at school and you have all this tension and anger, well, you just push it off into the people around you. Because you want to feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And so you don't even know you're doing this, right? So
maybe they get bullied at home, and then they take it out on the kids at school.
Yeah.
It could be that way too.
This is why I'm so passionate about the work I'm moving into about emotional intelligence and awareness.
Yeah.
Because if we can teach our young people, and if you'll follow me on Facebook, you'll see videos I talk about emotional intelligence. If we can teach our young people that it's okay to talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
That it's okay to be a human being. And that through words, we can actually resolve much of our issues. Mm-hmm. Many of these tensions that we have in the hood don't need to get to that level, but we don't even know how to communicate because we let it boil up. We have a culture that says, why are you all up in your feelings? You catching feelings? You feeling some kind of way? And I'm like, what? So I'm not supposed to be a human being?
And it's not encouraged either. It's like, we're being a bee or whatever. And it's true. We're like, especially depending on the neighborhood you come from, the circle of friends you have, circle of influence as well, is you can't get emotional because it's not cool. It's not hard. It's not.
You're soft, bro.
Yeah, exactly. You're too soft, man. Why are you always tripping every time? Da, 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 da. Why are you talking about your girl like that? Like, let her go. And But I totally see what you're saying because that was my background also, coming up black and brown.
And think about what that does to our psyche and how we engage in future relationships and what healthy relationships look like for us when we haven't done that work inside.
True.
And so it's like, I'm not trying to, like, I know that the hood is hard and that it's made us like that for a reason. And I'm thankful for the grit. Like, don't get me wrong. The struggle's real. And I'm thankful for that. Yet at the same time, we've lost part of our humanity.
Yes.
Because, especially us men, and I'm generalizing here, but men and specifically men of color have a hard time digging in deep and allowing that to open. But I can tell you, when we do that work with our young men and they're able to let that out and release it, they're a whole new person. That ego, that desire that pride, it goes down. Yeah. And now you actually can talk to a full sentient human being, and then you can actually, when you're open, you can learn better. You're not as hard-headed.
True.
And then you can help them break molds and barriers that self-limiting beliefs that they had to go do stuff that they were. And so I'm so glad for my mentors, especially my mentors in radio, who just like embrace me. And they're like, yeah, you want to do a radio show? Here's how you do it. And they were able to talk to me, and we had long conversations about life. Yeah. And they were one of the few first people that just like allow me to just be and explore who I am. We don't give our kids enough of that. And plus, our parents are working 2 or 3 jobs. They don't even have time for us to be able to
Yeah.
sit down here, sit with me, son. Let me go ahead and coach you. Because we didn't have someone for us to do that too.
It's always, I don't say always, but a lot of times it's correcting you rather than coaching you, because when you do have limited time, it's like, imagine having a job that 1 minute that you see your manager, that 5 minutes, they never really tell you when you're doing good. They always bring it up when you're doing bad, though.
And think about this. The longer we keep a culture of compliance, not only at work, but at home,
Okay.
it creates a psychological pattern in our neurology of how we behave and how we approach the world. Instead of creating a culture of contribution. So if you allow a child to think and experiment and explore and contribute and know that it's okay to fail,
Yeah.
and create it in a safe space, then I always wonder why my kids, my friends in middle school, because I went to an integrated middle school and it was white kids there too. They're like, yeah, we're going to go climb a mountain. I'm like, climb a mountain? Are you crazy? I'm just trying to live in these streets. Right? They're like, oh yeah, we went to Denver and went skiing. I'm like, y'all.
Went to Vail.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't have that. That wasn't real for me. And so when I heard them say these things, I was like, yeah, you don't know what it's like to live my life. You can't relate to me. And so I would shut that off. I later found out that because, not saying that they're trauma less, that everyone has a level of trauma, but the environment allows you to be able to dream at a certain level. My job at the university now is mindset and system shift. Right? Because if I can change the mindset of our students to see that they can create whatever they want to, the game is over.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny you say that. I just had this conversation not too long ago with somebody, because I tell them, I'm like, look, those that know my background and who I grew up with, whatever, I came from the street, to be honest with you. I mean, my LinkedIn is not, not too fancy like some of these. I went to Yale and I went to here and I went to there. Yeah. That's the reality, okay? When all your friends were DJs or rappers or this or that, you're very limited with what you put on, for platforms like that. But I tell them, I'm like, look, because they hit me up all the time. Man, bro, you're speaking at this Chamber of Commerce. You're doing it. I was like, look, find you a circle. Put it like this. Find who you want to be in 3, 4, 5 years and become that person now. Okay? When I'm hanging out with these CFO, VPs of whatever, Chamber of Commerce, yada, 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 that's cool. Okay? But those are the people that I need to constantly be around. Now, we still got our friends from the hood or whatever it is. Yeah, from the block. But if those people aren't at the level that we want to get to, we have to limit our time with them. But I've seen the light, if that's a good way to say it. And I tell them, I'm like, look, you've got the hustle, you've got the drive. The problem is you're putting it in the wrong direction.
You're investing in the wrong space.
Exactly. But if you can transform all of that energy, all of that whatever, and put it into this, you can get to where you want to be. And I see it not just with myself, but people I speak to. And I just put something on LinkedIn the other day, or yesterday, I think it was, whatever it was. And it was talking about how everybody starts as a beginner, because as we level up, like, of course, you, for example, and we'll get into what you were doing maybe right before the whole UT thing, but once you got onto that platform and UT gave you that position, it's like, okay, now you're at the bottom, but you got to figure out how to elevate within that role. Then you get really good at that, and then comes the next role that you start at the bottom of that. And that's just how it goes. But a lot of people say, I'm never going to, my dad told me, my mom told my brother, no one in our neighborhood or from our whatever went to. But it is one of those things where once you can get in somebody's mind and get them to believe what they can do, totally transform someone's life.
You want to know the secret to my success?
Talk to me.
And I have to remember this all the time.
Talk to me.
Ask for help. Your ego will keep you trapped on the block. Ask for help. Go up to somebody you think you don't know. They might be in a suit. A lot of people presume that people who dress up in a suit are smart people. Yeah. Let me tell you right now, they know real smarter than you are.
Or a shady lawyer. Or the weatherman.
Yeah. They might have different experiences than you, but study, just watch people. That's what I like. We have a colleague of ours. His name's Carlos, right? Okay. And what he does is really just, he's really smart. He sits back and observes. Yeah. Like, he may not like dress up like in a suit every day, but that man's smart. And he just observes and he starts putting pieces together. Next thing you know, he pops up a new business. And so what I'm saying is, if you're able to observe and ask for help and then do the work and show up back up and say, hey, I did the work that you told me to do.
Yeah.
People open up because people actually want to help you.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, but hold on. These people in
But
the
as long
streets
as you execute, though.
Exactly. But a lot of people have this fear mindset and they're like, man, in these streets, they'll take my idea and then run with it. Is there people that are like that? Yes. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
But there's less people than you think. And more people want to actually see you succeed and grow, because when you know how to create relationships and you create a mutual exchange,
Yeah.
when I help Hamid succeed, he's going to help me succeed.
Yeah.
And that's just a way humanity survived and thrived. So imagine if we do that on the block instead of, like, everyone talks about on the block, like crabs in the bucket. We all trying to cut ourselves down. But that's because we're coming from a fear and scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
But if we're actually able to flip that and say, you know what? I'm going to help you. And you may not actually be able to help me right immediately, directly.
Yeah, yeah.
But you might be able to help my kid out. And if we all adopt that kind of mindset in our community, that's how we come up.
True.
But what we do is we start creating division and like, oh, you so-and-so, or you belong for this so-and-so family, or you like this person. And we just tear each other apart. And so we stop collaborating, we stop talking, and then we stop innovating. We stop creating wealth. And the reason I'm at the office is to create a pathway for not just generational wealth, because that's sometimes thinking about like family wealth.
Yeah, yeah.
What if we could create communal wealth? Because here's a lot of people will say like, well, you know, you're losing East Austin because of gentrification. You know what? I get that. We're going to continue being pushed out if we don't know how to play the game.
True.
And so my whole thing is, I'm not here to teach you how to play real estate. I want to teach you how to think beyond, because you can take that skill into anything and you can create whatever business you want, whether it's a small business or exponential, scalable startup. It doesn't matter. If you know how to start thinking on that level, now you're able to participate in this current system that we're in.
Yeah.
And then when you get to that point, you can then start moving the levers to help create opportunities for more people.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that today.
And then also run in the circles, because I had a friend, good example, Eastside, this is some years back, sold their house, made $350,000, whatever it was, and then went to Shady Hollow. Okay. But guess what happened? The old Eastside mentality, and he's Hispanic, Mexican. His mentality was so stuck Eastside, they got all this money, went and bought a house, still had money left over, but brought that street mentality to Shady Hollow. And I was like, bro, you're in a different, you made it out the hood or whatever, right? It's up to you to try to fix your car in the driveway still and have the oil, all that whole smoking outside the house and all this. I go, cut that out. You have the opportunity now to go with the neighborhood association or, the little meetings that they have and all this and that, to do all that stuff, show your kids a totally different life, different school system. The parents actually got real jobs. They're not just at home collecting welfare and whatever. And I'm not saying everybody in East Austin collects welfare. What I'm saying is I knew how he came up. That's how I can say that. Because you got the opportunity. Well, I don't know how to be something else.
Ask for help.
Yeah, and just how you just said it right now, that's the problem, though. A lot of people are afraid to ask for help because then it feels like they're the one in need. And a lot of times when they feel like they're the one in need, they lost control.
They lost power.
Yeah,
and it's not true because you gain all the power.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, knowledge is power, but wisdom is knowing how to use it. And so if we can, I'm not encouraging our community to lose their selves and their identity.
Yes.
Let me be really clear. I want you to be really proud of who you are and your cultural upbringing.
Yeah.
But learn the game.
Yeah.
Like the game, look, either you're going to play the game.
And it's not called selling out. A lot of people say, I ain't trying to sell out to nobody and all this and that.
Look, either you're going to play the game or the game's going to play you.
True.
And, I have to, I don't have anything perfect. I'm still trying to get my stuff together. But I said, you know what? Do I work on getting my stuff together and then one day come back to help the kids out? Or can I do this both at the same time?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing.
Hey, and they see you doing things. That's why I think at the very beginning, that's why I said, just go to Google, type Ruben Cantu, Austin. Because I'm sure there's a bunch of Ruben Cantu, but let's say Austin to be more specific.
Yeah.
But Ruben Cantu, Austin, and you got this website writing about you. You got this thing. You got this thing. There's so much. So when you actually talk to one of these 14, 15, 17, whatever year old kids.
College kids, yeah.
Yeah, college kids or about to be college age. It's like, hey, go look me up. And it's not about bragging about it. Be like, look, man, let me show you how this is what I come from. Look what I'm doing now. Because that is inspiration. And I tell people all the time, motivation and inspiration are two different things. I would rather inspire somebody than motivate somebody. Inspiration lasts longer. But so now you're out of East, well, I don't say you're out of East Austin, but you got out of high school, East Austin, went to UT.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it scholarship or was it paid your way?
No, I had a small scholarship,
Okay.
but no, I had to pay.
Okay.
Tuition.
So you went to UT, paid your tuition, paid your dues. So after you're done, I'm assuming what, 22-ish, maybe around there?
I got graduate 21. Mhm.
Okay, 21 years old, you graduate. What's Ruben Cantu doing then?
I did some work with my boy Saul Paul for as a
Okay.
PR. I had a PR for an effort that he was working on for a
Is it
couple
Southpaw
months.
DJ?
Saul, no, not the Southpaw DJ.
Oh,
but
okay,
rest in
my
peace,
bad. Okay,
Saul Paul, the rapper.
sounds real familiar.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal. He's Austin under 40, Austinite of the year,
Okay,
2018, 2017.
okay.
Check him out. SAULPAUL.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded real familiar.
Yeah. And after that, I got a job at Apple, and then I helped roll out the iTunes store.
Oh, wow.
And then I created an escalations department for that.
Okay.
And then we created that for Latin America.
Wow.
And then I went off to do, so I created a team for Latin America, and we helped support the iTunes store. And then we did some special projects. And then this little secret project came up. It was called Purple.
Okay.
And it was come to know as the iPhone. And
what year were you? 05?
that was 2007.
2007,
from
I'm sorry, okay.
So I was there from 05, and in 07 we rolled out the iPhone.
Okay, yeah, that's when it officially launched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was doing testing on it and like training on it in 06.
Wow.
And we rolled it out in 07, and then I helped release that in Latin America as well.
Okay.
And then I left and went back to grad school.
Okay. So now it's 2009-ish, 2010-ish.
I graduated.
Grad school
I graduated from grad school 08 to 09.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I was starting to make films. I was moonlighting making films and started my own production company. And then when I got out of grad school, I was like, well, I can either go back to Apple or I can roll the dice. Now, mind you, the recession just had happened. I lost half of my value of Apple
wow.
stock.
Ooh.
But I said, you know what?
So when you started, they gave you a bunch of stock options, or
I
was
was-
it just straight up stock?
At every paycheck, I was putting 10% of my check
Oh, okay. Okay.
into Apple stock, and I could buy it for 80% of its price
Oh,
on the
wow.
market. So I had a really good deal.
Yeah.
So that was my piggy bank, and I just cashed it out, and I used that as seed money
Okay.
to get my company off the ground. and bought production equipment and rolled the dice. And 6 months later, I was like, I have 6 months to pay bills. And so literally, you want to see what a hustler is? I hit the streets. I was
You get real creative when you're desperate.
yeah,
So I
and
love
I was
to tell
shaking
people.
hands, telling people I'm the best video producer. You should hire me. Like I remember my first job I got hired for. I did my first video for $500.
Yeah. Was it mainly music videos, commercials? What exactly?
Corporate.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
little
What were the
corporate.
bigger checks?
Well, not at front. The first one was $500.
Better.
I built myself up.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, I just did I put all my sweat into it, and I even hired some of my friends who were on the block, and I put them to work, and I taught them how to edit, and I taught them how to shoot, and
Wow.
we built the company up to like 6 people at one point, and then I realized that the company was just about surviving, and we weren't actually doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And video wasn't, by the way, video
hadn't
wasn't
blown up at the level.
hasn't blown up, didn't blow up at that level. Because I went through the same thing around 2010. Yeah.
And so we started helping shift our company to a much more socially conscious company.
Okay.
And so we launched Austin's very first, or South by Southwest's first social impact conference. And we launched Austin's first social impact accelerator.
Okay.
And we even created a high school program a couple years later based on that for Title I AISD schools that still runs with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce called Startup Superstars.
Okay.
So all that, I was like, wow. And then it actually became a global network with the United Nations Foundation called Plus Social Good. And it has like 70,000 members now.
So hold on. So it originally was a video production company.
So video production company continued on.
Okay.
And then I started siphoning money, which if I had oversight, people were like, don't do that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like my company, I could do what I want.
Yeah, basically.
And basically this was like a parallel thing, and we called it Austin Plus Social Good. Then became socialgood.us. And that continued to thrive. And we created a community around social impact here in Austin and around the world. And it was called Plus Social Good, the global network. It was part of the United Nations Foundation.
Okay, so when you started your video production company, was any of that even in your vision, or it just
No.
organically kind of happened?
I knew that I wanted a global community of change makers, and I
Okay.
had been dreaming about this for a long time. See, Ted Turner, media mogul,
Yeah.
one of my heroes, he revolutionized media. I was like, well, how am I going to use that, and how am I going to revolutionize media? Little did I know that Ted Turner also had endowed the United Nations Foundation with
Santeria.
Santeria, and they were my parent organization who took me under.
Yeah.
And so he created, back in the day when I was a kid, a cartoon series called Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Sounds real familiar.
It was on TNT and TBS.
Okay.
It was about the superhero, and all these comes out when all these kids combine their forces to try to protect the Earth.
Yeah.
Anyway, I always had a dream of being a Planeteer. Little did I know that I would actually have a chance to become a real life Planeteer, because the same man who created the cartoon series helped create the organization that I was under.
That's crazy.
So we helped create that, and for like about 3 or 4 years, I was traveling around the world, letting people know what we needed to do to help advance sustainability, and through climate action, climate action,
Okay.
and also how to help companies become much more conscious about their impact on the climate, and here also here locally.
Wow. So you're moving and shaking at this point. Names getting out there, and this is, by the way, when did LinkedIn? So I'm trying to remember, when did LinkedIn actually start? When did it launch?
2005.
Okay, so LinkedIn was still kind of, well, obviously not as big as it is now, obviously. Instagram was barely, 2012?
2012, 2013.
Okay. Twitter was already going, obviously.
2007.
Snapchat was not there.
Nope.
Facebook was getting its legs.
2004.
Yeah, and, obviously, not, well, now it's kind of, it's had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of in-your-face, handshaking, business card, whatever you want to call it. Compared to now, where you can just run ads and everyone knows you all of a sudden.
A lot of people think they can use Instagram and just become a celebrity.
Yeah.
But people forget that the real magic happens over, whatever medium you use.
Interpersonal
It's
type of.
about real relationships.
Yes.
Because you can have all likes, so people have following you.
Yeah.
But
We
when
can
you
buy all that too.
when you ask them to do something for you, will they show up?
True.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have the biggest social media following at this moment, but I really count on my community, specifically here in Austin, because there's something magical here. I bootstrapped my company. The video production company became a marketing agency, and then it took me into consulting.
Yeah.
And then I was serving as CMO for startups. Wow. So before I came to UT. So that was a 10-year run, but I learned a lot and fell on my face, and like a lot of hard lessons, but I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah. No. Well, also what happens is someone obviously as established for, how when did UT actually start? Were they 1800s maybe? Or 19?
We started in mid 1800s.
Okay, mid 1800s. So obviously a very prestigious establishment. When they look at your, I don't want to say your resume, but they look at the past 10 years of what you've done, you're a legit character. You've actually been there, done that, done a lot of things, come from a black and brown background, are able to connect. That's the big thing, being able to connect with
Both communities.
both community. This is what we want you to do. Oh, great. You have experience. Perfect. That type of thing. So how did you go from what you were doing with your specific business and then transitioning into UT to where they say, we want you to be the one that oversees it and makes it all happen for us? And why did they have that need? Was it something where they said, hey, look, we got pressure on us, or we know we're failing at it, or why did UT, was it a job posting, or did someone connect you, or did you approach them? How did it all happen?
You know that phrase, it's not about who you know, but who knows you?
Okay.
That's very much about this story. That also other phrase that says you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Okay.
So, and then they also said luck is like 90% preparation.
Preparation and what I say it all the time is about preparation and opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was that opportunity. So I had to stay ready. I didn't know it was coming.
Okay.
I was actively, I created, so from the high school program that I started, and the next year, in 2016, I spun it out and I created a version called the Level Up Institute, and it was for college students.
Okay.
And that became successful.
So did UT have that position, the position you have
No,
now?
they created it for me.
Okay, that's
So
what I was
this is
about
in
to ask, yeah.
2016. I was trying to sell it, and nobody was actually picking up like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's cute. You took 6 students through your program.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You helped them get almost jobs in nearly 6 figures. I'm like, yeah, you should bring me in. Oh, well, we don't have any money.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, in my head, I'm saying words that I shouldn't say on the radio. And I'm like, be patient. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so the political winds had changed at UT, and the opportunity came with a new vice president with a new vision.
Okay.
And he wanted to see somebody who was an entrepreneurial and innovative,
Okay.
that is from the community, que habla español, right? And can connect with all these different, can navigate and circumvent, and has a community support behind them. And then when he saw what I actually created, he's like, are you a real person? I'm like, yeah, like I've been a real person this whole time.
Look at my 30-page resume.
Yeah. And so long story short, he's like, you want to come in? We negotiated back and forth.
Yeah.
And I told him that I needed to make sure that I was able to take in students that were not enrolled at UT. I was like, you mean from the other colleges? I'm like, yeah, and college dropouts too. They're like, what? So I said, yeah. I was like, why do you want to do that? It's like, because I know my boys who needed a shot, who didn't get lucky enough to get into college or didn't finish college. But if I can take them in, I can get those people polished up and ready for the opportunity and change their lives. And if we look at the historical journey of the University of Texas and how exclusive it's been and not inclusive for certain communities, you have to decide, are we going to continue with this same legacy?
Yeah.
Or does it stop today?
Yep.
And so I'm here.
Hey, you know, it's funny what you just said. In 2003 through 2006, I was actually living on West Campus, 24th and Leon, Longview Street. Actually, I was online. I never went to school though, but I'm a high school dropout. To be honest with you, a lot of people don't know that, and it's funny because they don't even ask. And I'm like, cool. You don't ask it, but if you ask, I'll tell you. But my thing is, what am I doing now, and am I of value to you? Oh, I am. Okay, cool. That's why it never comes up in conversation. But when I was living on West Campus, because a friend of mine, I had a hookup. His dad owned like 3 houses out there, heart surgeon, whatever. It was either what I noticed. Keep in mind, this was 15 years ago. It was mainly Asian or white. That's literally all I saw. And of course, when I would walk my dogs at the time around campus, go down the drag and buy Einsteins and all that, it was all, there's Indian, Asian, and white. That's all I saw. The majority. And I was literally every day. So do you feel, or were you, I don't say were you told because that's another conversation, but do you feel like maybe UT was getting some pressure on them from not bringing this type of program that maybe they finally had to mimic other universities? Or is it something where they just said, hey, this is a great idea, let's do it, and let's just find somebody?
I think there was a desire. I think UT is not dumb. So they are actively looking at what's changing in the space.
Yeah, the culture, the trends.
Everything. But the thing about it is that they're a top heavy, they're the big gorilla.
Okay.
And it's hard for them to just move and pivot. And so it wasn't going to come from any of the colleges.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we have our programs. If people want to get into our colleges, this is what they have to follow all these rules. It's very bureaucratic.
Yeah.
It was because of the division of diversity who's so nimble and was so new and could try new things that it was a perfect storm that allowed for this to happen.
Wow. Okay. So like now, how many students come through the program? How do you prospect? How does all that happen? Because if you got, I don't want to say a C student and I'm assuming not just Austin, I believe you go elsewhere to find kids or?
Well, if they can get to UT, then they can be in the program.
Okay, so they still have to meet certain.
So what I mean by that
or
is
does
if they can physically drive themselves to UT.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Not in terms of getting accepted.
Yeah, not grade wise.
So I don't care about your GPA.
Okay.
Hear me clearly. I could care less about your GPA. Mm-hmm. I need to see your character and how you deliver. Do you say what you're going to do? Do you do what you're going to say?
I see.
And are you humble enough to be coachable? Okay. They have to all apply to my program. So you don't just get in.
Okay, so just some kind of a little clarity on for the ones listening. So let's see a kid from San Antonio, Texas, 15 years old, average 73 in school. That's all he's making grades.
Does he have a high school degree?
A diploma? Is that one of the requirements? Though?
So they have to at least have 1 semester of college.
Oh, okay. So it could be community college or whatever
Yep.
is that Incarnate World.
I just
whatever?
need to be able to show that they can actually handle a college rigor,
Okay.
because what I'm throwing at them is I'm challenging them.
Yeah.
But I'm meeting them where they're at. But I'm like, okay, I don't have all the time to give you all the soft skills. Like sometimes people take remedial courses.
Yeah,
This is not a remedial course.
I see.
I just need to know, can you hang with other college students? Because I'm putting you in places where some kids come from really nice neighborhoods, but they're still diverse.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, I'm not just going for underserved and low-income students, which is the majority of them. I'm also putting them next to students who are diverse, but also come from nicer backgrounds.
Exactly.
In turn, so that new mentality can... When you come from privilege, you really don't know sometimes what it comes from struggle. And when you come from struggle, you really don't know how to think from people that come from privilege.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when they get that intermingling, they help each other grow.
I see. Okay.
So they have to apply for the program.
Okay.
They get interviewed, and then from there we make a selection. So the program starts so the first program I'm telling you, it's about that we brought into UT, what's called the Level Up Institute. It's been brought in. It's rebranded as the Prodigy Institute.
That was your original one.
So Level Up is the original one, and that still exists outside. Inside, what I'm working on right now is the same version, but it's extended. It's now a year long. It's training for product managers, associate product management. And the reason is that's the fastest track for you to become an executive. Our whole goal is to create executives of tomorrow that are from diverse backgrounds.
Okay.
Because we need that equity. Because people are like, well, we just increase our diversity numbers inside the corporation. It'll solve everything. Like, no, it won't. Like, who's running the corporation?
Yeah, they got to be actually talented in doing that too, not just a check mark on Latino, chink.
Yeah,
and then
we moved on.
And they check the box or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they don't stay, and they're like, we just can't figure out why they won't stay at our company. I'm like, yeah, you don't know what inclusivity is really about. Well, we have ERGs, or employee resource groups. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but it's more than just having a group that meets ever so often. It's about really feeling that the leadership is behind you and you can voice your opinion. I tell people, inclusive innovation is defined as this: if diversity is being asked to the dance, and inclusivity is being asked to dance, then inclusive innovation is being on a freaking hosting committee, choosing a playlist and choosing the theme of the event.
I see. Okay.
It's my party too. It's ownership.
I see.
And so our three core values are Ubuntu, I am because you are. It's Xhosa and Zulu. It's a term that respects humanity. I am because you are. Innovation and ownership. That's what our office really stands for. And so the Product Prodigy program, a year-long program, they actually build a company from scratch. They learn product management principles, how to think as an entrepreneur. They learn design thinking, lean, and agile.
Yep.
And then they're able to take a product into the market. Our last year's cohort, one of the teams got accepted to the Target Incubator.
Wow.
Like, they have an actual chance of getting their product that came from their brain into Target stores. Game changer.
That's really cool, yeah.
2, we started a women's program. It's targeted to women of color at the University of Texas. It's a 3-year fellowship. It's called Weald Texas. It stands for the Women's Initiative on Entrepreneurship and Leadership Development.
Okay.
And it is helping them learn how to become executive level thinkers, so that whether they go into government, nonprofits, or the private industry, they're able to actually get to executive level positions, hopefully within a decade after graduating UT.
Yeah. So once they go to your program for a year, is one of, because there were 2.
So the first program, Product Prodigy, is a year long.
Okay.
The second program is 3 years.
Okay. So the 1-year one, are they technically classified as a student enrolled in University of Texas?
If they're already a UT student, of course they are. If they are not, they're in auditing in class.
What is it called? Oh, auditing a class. Okay. I see what you're saying.
But the goal is, whether you have the paper or not, look at what you built.
True.
Because employers are like, what have you built? And they're like, yeah, I just built this company. And they're like, oh. Like, honestly, the reason I got hired so quickly at Apple, I had built my first company in college.
Yeah, and nowadays, a lot of these big businesses, I think it was Elon Musk even not too long ago on Twitter or something, he said, starting a new company, I don't care if you have a degree, or maybe it was for whatever he had going, I forget what it was. But a lot of these companies really don't care if you have a degree, because in my opinion, information is so commoditized now, you can literally go to YouTube and learn almost anything you want. But unfortunately, there still are a lot of companies that say, the minimum requirement is you have to have a bachelor's degree. It's like, dude, you want me to work at a call center?
Look,
Like,
if you're going to be an accountant and that matters, your GPA matters, then go to college and get a good GPA so you can get hired into that accounting.
Or
accounting
attorney
or a doctor.
Medical,
for sure.
yeah.
There's certain things we need you to get good grades on the test for. I don't want you operating on me and like taught my own dang self, right? Like I get that.
you got to be really certified.
Like you make sure I need to know that this is covered. But building a company, man, it's talking about extreme sports.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship and it's extreme sport.
Yeah.
And there's no one there to like coddle you. You're like, you fall down, like a ver, que aprenda, que se levante, right? Let him get up because that way he'll learn. And so if I can build that resilience, if we can collectively build that resilience into our students, they've already gone. They forget they've already gone through so much. Or some of our students, and they think that they can't make it. It's like, no. If you apply that same level of resilience into building a company, nothing can stop you. And plus, when time gets hard, when those students or people who came from privilege,
the flakes,
it all falls down. It's like, I guess entrepreneurship's not for me. I'm just gonna go and like quit. I'm like, you just push through.
Okay, I was just about to ask you that. So, based on what you've seen over, is it 18 months you've been there, or three?
About 18 months.
Okay,
September of 2018.
Okay, 18 months that you've been there. Have you noticed that the ones that go through the program that are successful, okay, and a little bit beyond the program too, that it's more the privileged kids or the hood or struggle kids with those backgrounds? What can you honestly say now in 2020?
I'm so impressed and surprised by our kids that come from El Valle.
Okay.
Or in Texas Valley.
Yep.
There's something special in those kids. The kids from El Paso.
Yeah.
The kids that everyone overlooks. I'm expecting the kids from privilege to do good no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? I'm expecting them to be able to show up, know how to take an interview, get a good job. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Seeing the kids who come in super shy, are not sure of themselves, are curious, but they don't know how to express themselves.
Yeah.
To come out and they're leading and guest lecturing in a class with me, that's power.
Yeah.
And so I've seen it work. And the beautiful thing about it is I don't just take in Black and Latino kids, which is obviously the focus of it.
Yeah.
I take in Indian and Asian students too.
Yeah.
And even some of them might come from a little bit more privilege to a degree, depending on how their background is.
Or expectations that they have.
Right?
Yeah.
They still come with their own confidence issues that they're trying to build up.
Yeah.
And to see them flourish, it's amazing. I literally tell people I don't work. I actually just go have fun with my kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just show up and they're like, what are you going to learn today? I was like, we're just going to talk about it. They're like, you don't have a lesson plan? Of course I have a lesson plan. But I'm like, look, I teach better when I'm not like Ben Stein on the blackboard, like, what is this equation?
Or
like,
PowerPoint slides all day long.
But I teach through story.
Yeah.
And I teach through experience. And then I bring, and what's beautiful about it is shout out to Austin, Texas, and all the tech community, all the people who really care about diversity, because they're the ones showing up. True. They're the ones that are showing up like, let me go talk to your kids. And that is, I'm so thankful because I only have a certain set of amount of experiences for myself.
Yeah.
But when I bring other founders who have already started companies.
Legit people too.
And they look like them. Yeah. And they're like, wait, I can be like you? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something happens in the brain.
Hey, and you know what's funny is my friend, I'm sure you know Amber from Startup Kids Club.
Yeah.
Amber Wakeham, yeah. So with Amber, I've seen her progress, and she was like, in the beginning, was like, I don't know how to do all this. But little by little, obviously getting TV placements, and she's got people throwing money at her, and here's some computers, here's this, here's that, because they want to be a part of something beautiful. Now, something we had just kind of briefly talked about, when my son graduated from high school, Cedar Park High School, I will never forget this. There was an Asian boy that he won, was a valedictorian, I think it's called, and he gave a speech, okay? And his speech, and I was like, oh, this kid's about to get slapped in the face as soon as he walks out this place and reality hits. And what I meant by that was because he talked failure is not an option. We will not fail and fail this and no failure and I'm not going to fail. And so obviously now that I'm 40, I understand you're about to get smacked in the face from reality because you're going to fail a million times. But what I want to ask you is, based on those Indian, because my father's Persian, so I've seen, Persian life growing up, and you're a doctor, you're an attorney, you're a this or you're that. Okay. But with the Asian or the Indian or, other foreign kids that are not the Hispanic or not the black, What is it about that upbringing? Because I'm sure, obviously, you talk to them one-on-one. What difference do you see that is expectation culturally that they have to become a doctor, an engineer, they have to be successful, or what is it?
There's already a sense of possibility for them.
Okay,
Like they've already been told that this is what they have to do,
I see.
right? So they're a little bit ahead in mindset than some of our community. It's not that our Latino and Black parents don't want the best for their kids.
Yeah.
It's just that we have collectively as a culture not embraced collectively these fundamentals.
Yeah, not raise the bar of expectation.
And it's because no one has brought us into the fold. Like we are not literally going back and reaching back and pulling the next one up.
I see.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Do you know it takes about 25 to 35 years to cultivate a potential executive mind? Wow. So if you think about that, when the population shifts in Texas by 2030, and it flips from majority white
Hispanic,
to like
majority Hispanic,
majority Hispanic, Black, Latino, like Asian, other, collectively, you're like, wait, so we're gonna have the majority of the population running this economy, and they don't know how to play the game? Is that a good thing? Hold on, we gotta start cultivating more kids that can think on entrepreneurial level, and so I'm a race. I'm on a race against the clock.
Yeah,
because.
But you're also ahead of the game too, because
I hope.
Well, I think you are, because a lot of people are not I don't want to say they're not, but there's not as much focus on the Black and the brown from a younger age, getting them actually educated for that type of executive mentality. What are C-suite? I think they call
C-suite.
it C-suite mentality. You know.
I mean, we have no choice though, because think about this: if we are all part of this country, and we all share in this economy. Look how our economy is being faced right now with this current pandemic.
Yep.
When the majority of our people are not working and not creating new jobs and not creating new companies, what do you think is going to happen with our larger GDP compared to the other global economies? And we're doing it to ourselves by falling asleep at the wheel and not investing in our young kids.
Yeah.
And we're defunding public schools, and we're making it so hard for teachers to teach, because we're like, this is how you got to pass a test. I'm like, these kids don't even remember what you taught them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you just want them to pass the test because we got to, like, this is the thing that my friend Babu Blake says, you can actually overweigh the hog. Like, you can weigh the hog too many times. And so what I'm saying is that yes, you should do standardized tests.
Yeah.
Yes, you should have some levels of measuring. But when teachers are all doing is just measuring and teaching for the test, you're not allowing kids to actually grow and experiment and create things that they are meant to create. Yeah. And what are we doing as a culture? What does that mean for us?
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I personally left school, because I'm like, there's literally nothing here for me. I literally wanted to break dance and make money. That was the only reason I went to school, like my last year. I think I left in 10th grade. It might have been. And like nowadays, you know, obviously I've learned, as long as you create a skill and you're a value to the world, whether it's $20 an hour value or $200 an hour value, doesn't matter. As long as you can be happy. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, speaking of happy, I want to ask you, what are 3 things that make you unhappy of your job? 3 things that you're like, God, dog, because everybody, it's all fun and games and it's all dandy and all beautiful with everyone's job, right? But there's always those things, those obstacles, those daily challenges. What are 3 things that either get you like, man, I wish we could get this done. I wish we could get this accomplished. Whether it's red tape within the organization, whether it's the kids, it takes them longer than expected to catch on to what the expectations of them are. What are things that you're dissatisfied with your current job?
Not everyone sees the vision.
Okay.
So by division,
vision for themselves,
for
or
the
vision
office,
of the office.
I mean, yeah, just in general. I mean, if you don't come from an entrepreneurial culture, and you like, imagine if we had an alien come to our planet, and then we had to figure out how to like engage and talk to the alien, but it's a totally different language. They may even speak the same language, but a whole different style of it, or whatever it is. Like, what ends up happening is like we have to like really take time to ingratiate. The new visitor has to do their part to get to know the organization or to the whatever the society.
Okay.
And society has to make time to do the same thing and be patient. But if you come and you're on an agenda, and the rest of the community doesn't see while you're there, or they might see you as a threat.
I see.
It might be harder, even though you're not a threat.
Hold on,
But
but the community within the program or the
No,
community
just-
they go back to?
Sorry. Like this general, like the way big institutions run,
I see. Okay.
it's just the nature of it,
Yeah.
right? So I can't hold it against them. It's just when you come and move fast, you're like, hold on, what are you doing? What are you what are you trying to break? I'm like, not trying to break anything, right? So it's
I'm
just,
a disruptor.
yeah, but yeah, some people are like, no, we don't want things disrupted. Things work just the way they are.
I
They
see.
keep us safe and they keep us out of trouble.
I see.
I get that, and at the same time, what's going to get us there is not what we need to do to get us there is not what we've been doing today.
I see. Okay.
So if what we think that we just keep doing these things, we're going to be fine. Like, no, there's like, for example, again, this whole pandemic, they're like, well, we have enough staff for our health human services. We'll be able to handle it. And then this thing happens, like, whoa, we're not ready for this.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying to us is we need to be thinking on exponential levels, but not if we haven't been accustomed and acculturated to think on exponential levels and exponential thinking, we'll never start creating those kind of systems.
I see.
So that's one thing that I'm sad about. Two, I want other people to also engage with this. I shouldn't be the only one teaching right now.
I see.
What I'm teaching. So I soon will change that, and we'll find really good. Then there's people at the university already who I can already spot who are like, these would be perfect to do this program. So I would love to expand the program, because think about it. Like right now I teach 2 classes, but I can only teach so many classes.
Yeah.
Right. And so how are we going to reach more students?
Is it a funding thing where they say the budget's not there, or are they like, Ruben, just do it all? Like you're good at what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I have to.
Or it could be a combination.
I have to go build it. So,
I see. Okay.
So we'll build it. Not a problem. But, having the community show up and say, you know what, you've proven, you've been tested. Here's the support. That would be great.
I see.
But not a problem. I mean, we have what we have right now, and I know that that's where we're at, but I'm not going to just settle. So we're going to go and build it, and we're going to go impact more lives, because at the end of the day, what matters is the students.
Yeah.
And then finally, I don't like having to deal with parking at campus.
Downtown parking always sucks.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's maybe a frivolous thing. I can work around that, but parking is always an issue. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No. That's great. And that's a tough question at the end, because I'm like, I want to know, what do you not like about your job? And it's not about putting someone on blast or whatever, but there are still things that can be improved, but it's also things that you can improve.
Yeah, for sure.
Because everybody, I mean, if you ask me about what I do, I'm like, man, I can tell you 10 things that I got to get going, but it's a matter of obviously putting things in place and having a sequence of events take place for that to be able to happen.
Yeah, it's not even so much what I like. I see they're all opportunities.
Yes.
So it's just about prioritizing the opportunity.
Yep.
And so I mean, I like
Which
it
one
right
comes
now,
first?
but I can always take action and help implement change.
I see.
So knowing that I'm always responsible and I can always help implement that,
Yeah.
it's not so much of like, it's like I'm dragging, like, I don't want to go to work. Like, I love going to work. So there's no issue there. It's more of how soon can I get to that so I can take care of that the opportunity.
I see. Yeah. Prioritization is everything.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, before we close out here in a bit, is there anything in particular that you want to leave with, or to either educators that are watching this, students that are watching this? Because obviously this is an important thing where it's like, you can talk to students all day and say, oh, do this or do inspire them and motivate them, whatever. But what about actual educators? People that have been in that, whether it's the old school system of education or just teaching a certain way, reading off the script. I remember I had a meeting with a well-known organization here in Austin, and they wanted me to come in and do some presenting. And I looked at it, they go, yeah, you're going to read the script. I'm like, I don't read scripts. I'm not a substitute teacher that reads scripts. I do my own thing. And then it just basically never went nowhere. But what message do you have, maybe for 2 or maybe just for 1?
So for my students and prospective students, because I see them all as prospective students, I want you to dream bigger. Okay. And I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. Dreaming is a muscle. And I want you to work that out. Because the bigger you dream and the bigger bold action you put behind that dream, the more momentum you set so that your life changes. Wow. Your life is not fixed.
Yeah.
And you're like, but I don't know what I want to do in life. It's okay. Go jump in the water. You don't know if you're going to be a synchronized swimmer or you're going to do the relays. Like it doesn't. Just jump.
See what it's like at first.
Yes, just jump in, and then you can figure that out later. Yeah. But so much of the time, I'm like, pero está fría la agua. The water's cold. I'm like, if you don't get in this pool right now, right? And so, I just want my young people to realize that I am no smarter than you. I just refuse to quit, and I'm insanely curious. And I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I go fix it. Yeah. Right. And so if you can adopt some of those simple mistakes and simple habits, and then ask for help, you're unstoppable. And I want to see that more of that mentality out there. Entonces, jóvenes, señoritas, si me escuchan, quiero que ustedes realmente tomen esto al corazón porque creo que realmente ustedes pueden hacer el cambio para nuestra comunidad, pero que tienen que realmente invertir en su futuro, soñar, crear el futuro y pedir ayuda y saber cuando necesitas reflexionar y adaptar, pero tú puedes vencer y podemos avanzar nuestra comunidad juntos. All right. For my educators, I don't know. I feel like I'm humbled by the great professors that I had. And if I can offer any insights to just teachers in general, stop thinking that one way is the only way to teach things. Yeah. And I say that to myself all the time. Like, oh, how could I have taught that concept better? Yeah. Right. And then unfortunately, today we live in a climate where teacher-student relations has been strained. Okay. If we could actually have a space where students trusted teachers, and we could have open, obviously in the public, but open real conversations that inspired them and pulled the best out of them, and like they left inspired every single time they left your class. Yeah. What could you do for that student? But we've grown up in the world of compliance so much that we literally just show up and our souls died. Yeah. And I was like, you became a teacher for a reason. Don't let that spirit die, because you will make a difference in one of those students, if not all of your students, by the way you show up every day. So before I go to class, I'm literally meditating. I prime myself and I'm like, what kind of class do I want to have today? How do I want to inspire these students? What kind of change do I want to make in their life? Yeah. I'm like, but I'm just teaching them about some simple concept. It doesn't matter. The way I show up and the way I create community is the secret and the dance that makes them like, oh my God, I can't wait to go to class today.
Do you think, well, let me ask you, do you think it's an institutional thing to where they're not trained properly to be able to bring that out, or they're told not to?
I think subconsciously we adopt fear because of rules, because we're scared of losing our jobs.
Okay. So it's more, it might, and I'm not saying it is, but it might possibly
be one of the reasons.
Yeah, where they're just like, read the script, this is what they do, and throwing this in there. I went to ACC 3 years ago. I got recommended by somebody, go talk to the marketing, blah, 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 blah. I went to ACC Cypress Creek to talk to them about being a guest speaker at their community college. Is all it was. So I spoke with the marketing director lady. I forget what class.
Title.
Title. I apologize on that. Probably still got the email somewhere. And she, it's great. And blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I'd love to have you. She checked out. I was talking about Snapchat, geo, target fencing, marketing, and all this and that. I would love to have you, and I won't tell you all the detail of what she said, but basically she was unhappy with what she had to teach. So she gave me the email of her boss that basically gives the okay. And I'll never forget this. The boss basically said, we don't allow guest speakers. Our professors are trained, and they work very hard to prepare these lessons, and they do the computer work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, the one that works for you told me it sucks what she's being told to tell these kids. You have someone that actually built a real business, is making real money, got product in convenience stores and this and blah, 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 to talk about entrepreneurship and marketing, and I'm being closed. The door's being closed on me because you're saying what she's unhappy teaching is the best thing for the students. And, it totally blew my mind, honestly.
Knowledge will kill wisdom. I don't know if you actually know what I mean by that, but let me clarify. You actually have a strong point, and here's why. a lot of us think that acquiring a lot of knowledge and doing it in a systemic and a process way,
The book stuff.
we like look at our title, right?
Yeah.
And
I went to Yale.
There's
I went to whatever.
There's rankings, and I'm not trying to talk down. You do research, you earn that, great.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, while you're so caught up, and some people are so caught up in their tenure
Yeah.
that they're not. They lost the ear to the street, and the street's gonna disrupt them. And so kids are like, why do I need to go to college? I'm just gonna teach my dang self,
Yeah.
right? And so what I'm saying to them is,
And get popular on YouTube, and someone will pick me up.
yeah. And so while it's still somewhat of an anomaly for people to end up becoming that. What I'm asking is like, start looking. I always study systems, and I always see why things fall apart, and it's usually because, and why big companies fall apart too, is they stopped innovating.
Yeah.
And it's not even the products that they stopped innovating. They themselves got so comfortable
With what worked 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
and they're not innovating in their mind and disrupting themselves.
I see.
And so when you have an institution that's not ever been disrupted, what do you think is either going to disrupt themselves from inside or they're going to become irrelevant?
Yep.
And I hate to say that because I love higher ed because it brought me to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
every university has its opportunities and its challenges, and it is one of those things. Well, let me ask you, anything you want to close out with other than that?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here on the podcast today. I thrive in helping create connections for our community.
Yeah.
So if there's opportunities for our students to get internships and mentorships, I want every single one of our students to be placed in key, pivotal, life-changing work. So while I appreciate them getting a job answering phones, that's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I tell my students they're being trained to be chief problem-solving officers, CPSO, right? And so I can put them anywhere, and they can literally transform the game.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for students that can think on that level, hit me up.
Regardless of the product or service.
Yes, regardless of the product or service. Obviously, we'll put you in a database, and we love to figure out the right fit. But different students want different things. Some people want to go into government. Some people want to go into politics. Some people want to go into private or nonprofits. But my goal is on the product development side, put them in tech companies, and on my women's executive side, to put them in key influential positions in the city or around the country.
Very good. I like that, and it's putting them at the top is beautiful. And a lot of people would say, I want them to get in the door. And yeah, that's cool, but you need to get them at the top. And it's one thing about getting in the door and then being at the top of the house or whatever, because also once they get up there, they can inspire so many more people and bring the ones and say, hey, I was just like you. Look at the guy. He's a CEO, not to say CEO, but he's a VP of something. I'm sure you might know who he is, of Frito-Lay, the guy that came out with the hot Cheetos. Montoya, is that what his name is? Yeah. Maybe Montoya. He was a freaking janitor in the building. He was a janitor. And if you look at his Instagram and all that, you can tell he's like all choloed out and got the low ride, the bomb, and the kids wear the Cortez. But he got his foot in the door, made it to the top, and look at all the people that he can inspire that look and come from exactly where he came from.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yep. Well, either way, Ruben Cantu, look him up online. Obviously, all his information is here. I really appreciate you coming. This will inspire a lot of people, and it's good to know that the genuine talk that you have is actually not just, we're throwing this event. No, you do it on a daily basis. That's the beautiful thing about what you do. It's not just every once in a while. It's like you do this daily.
Yeah.
That's what's beautiful. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you very much.